Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gorham Park, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, Midland Travel and McCafferty's traditional Irish bars.
They're coming to the final fence and the 25 Govs tie day. Nick Rocket lands in the lead from Velvet Elvis, gone well clear of Favori de Shondu and Bushman's Pass. They're well strung out. Nick Rocket on the stand side for win number 10 in the race for Willie Mullins.
Enter our Champ.ie headline competition in association with Midland Travel, where you could win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. For a chance to win, simply subscribe to the Champ.ie podcast on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code to enter your competition details today. We look forward to discussing your weekly #5cast selections in the comment section below.
Yes, well, season 6, episode number 2 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge with myself, Barry Doyle, and this time the turn of Conor DWYER, of course, Cheltenham, Gold Cup and champion hurdle winning jockey. Conor, what fantastic memories.
Yeah, super, Barry. Long time ago now, unfortunately. But listen, to come across two horses as good as Hardy and War of Attrition late in my career was fantastic. And you know, every jockey, every trainer, owner, everybody involved in racing needs those good horses, and I was lucky enough to come across both of them.
Look forward to really delving into that later on in the show. Of course, this show proudly in association, Conor, with Gorham Park Racecourse, Boylesports, of course, our betting partner, EJ Menswear up in Sligo. More details on EJ later on in the show. Shamrock Thoroughbreds, McCafferty's traditional Irish bars, and Midland Travel as well. It's hard to believe, Conor, we've been on the road six seasons with the Road to Cheltenham Challenge, and it's not every day we got to speak to, I suppose, a Cheltenham Festival, Gold Cup, and champion hurdle winning jockey on the one show. So really look forward to picking your brains about the upcoming festival 2026 as well. I know it's a long way away, Conor, but on the show this week, here's the agenda. So as we do each and every week, Conor, at the performance star ratings, you look at 3, I look at 3, a tracker horse as well over the last 7 days, a Q&A with yourself. We'll look at I know we did it last week, Conor, but we're going to look at the Gold Cup picture once again, because we had a bit of a shake-up, obviously, after the weekend. But first and foremost, our travel partner, of course, which is Midland Travel, have put forward a fantastic competition for 2 lucky listeners to head to the, of course, Cheltenham Festival 2026. Let's now hear more details on the competition.
To begin with a chance of winning an all-inclusive trip for 2 to the 2026 Cheltenham Festival in association with Midland Travel, Ireland's leading horse racing travel specialist. Simply subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code on screen and answer the following question. Who won the 2025 Cheltenham Gold Cup? Was it 1, Galopin de Champ, 2, I Know the Way You're Thinking, or 3, Marine Nationale? Register your competition details today, including your YouTube username. Don't forget, you must subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube to qualify. The competition winner will be announced on Thursday, the 12th of February. Best of luck and be lucky.
Yes, the big thank you to Stephen and all the team at Midland Travel as well. Of course, the go-to travel agent if you're thinking of heading to the Cheltenham Festival. And don't forget, of course, as well, if you're watching this on a phone device and you can't scan the QR code in the top left-hand corner, the link is in the podcast description. Fantastic number of entries over the last 7 days. And, of course, you must be subscribed to the Champ.ie podcast. Without further ado, Conor, let's kick off. Obviously, this weekend, with a shake-up in the Gold Cup market, Gaelic Warrior, Grey Dawning, obviously Django Bay as well to mention. But kicking off with the first performance that you've rated, it's 5-star rating for you. Gaelic Warrior, what a John Durkan. A race that you won in the past twice, I believe.
I did. I was lucky enough, native upmanship, won it twice and beaten a short headed another year by Florida Pearl. And as a jockey, when you get beaten a short head, you always think I should have won that one. So I think I should have won 3. But listen, it's 2, and that's where it's ending. But great race, fabulous race. Could be the race of the season for a good bit. to come, because like that, sometimes those races build up to be great spectacles and don't deliver. But by God, that surely did. It was a fantastic race.
Was it more of a 5-star for Paul Towland, or was it the horse himself? Because to get the fractions, I mean, the horse went out there, more or less made all of the running, and so was coming back to the field, and how he found another gear. I mean, he really battled, didn't he? Was it his Gold Cup, do you think? Was that Gaelic Warriors Gold Cup, or do you think there could be more to come from this season?
There should be more to come. He did things wrong early in the race. He ran way too keen for at least a half a mile. So to actually have enough left in the tank at the end of it to come back and beat Factifile was testament to the horse, and as you said, it was a 5-star ride by Paul, because he just gave him that little chance when Mark jumped the second last better. Paul just gave him that 50s, 80 yards just to fill himself a little bit back up and have a crack after the last again. It was an amazing race, but again, likewise, Mark was unbelievable on Factifile to time it to come when he did. So, there was no unlucky story in the race, but as I say, both horses will improve. Factifile definitely will probably strip a bit fitter the next day, but Barry Geraghty made a very valid comment on RTE about Gaelic Warrior. Tom would probably be very keen and hard on himself, so would have probably been that little bit fitter on Sunday, more so than Factifile. So he'd expect Factifile to probably come on a bit more, but two unbelievable horses, and if they continue to go the way they're going, we'll have more spectacles for the rest of the season.
The front two pulled a good way clear of the third, and I suppose heading towards the King George, from a trainer's perspective, would it be maybe a slight bit of a concern, Gaelic Warrior, in terms of maybe did he have a hard race in the John Durkan? It looked a bit of a grueler in the finish.
It was, and as I said, he was quite hard on himself early on, but that's probably going to leave him spot on. So Willie won't have to probably do a lot with him. He can have a week off, as Ruby said, and he then has another 4 weeks to come back to it. So I'd say he should be fine that way, and he seems to take his racing well. So I'd say the 5 weeks will be fine for him.
Conor, let's move on to Grey Donny. We've given him a 4-star rating, and he the grueler in the Betfair Chase last season. Looked pretty attritional conditions. Obviously, the ground wasn't as testing at Haydock at the weekend, and he won on the bridle. And listening to your message earlier on, you did say to me it's not too often you give a horse a 4-star rating for winning on the bridle at Grade 1. But did the race maybe fall apart a little bit with Hottie Calore not performing?
Yeah, listen, that's the only reason I didn't give him the 5, because listen, any Grade 1 is hard to win, and it's very hard to say any Grade 1 was a bad Grade 1. But as things go, Royal Pagayi, wants it an absolute bog, really, and 3.5 miles, I think, is minimum trip for him, type of thing. So, but no, he acts well around Haydock. He's hard to beat, and Grey Donning absolutely did on the bridle, and Harry was brilliant on him. But, I just did probably think maybe not the strongest renewal of the race. So for that reason, I took the star away. But as I said, it's not often you see Grade 1 horses winning Grade 1 races on the bridle.
I want to ask your opinion as well in a moment's time on Django Bay. I looked at that performance and I've given that a 4.5-star rating. I think it was a much higher quality race than what we saw at Haydock. But Django Bay, obviously, he's unbeaten at Cheltenham 2 from 2. This was at Ascot, stepping up in trip, first run back after wind surgery. I think his jumping ability is a big asset. We saw that obviously in the Arkle. It was the one thing that kept him in contention. He had the class early on in the race to lie up in the Arkle, but got a little bit outpaced and came home strongly. But I think he could majorly improve, maybe for the King George, stepping up and trip to 3 miles for the first time. I thought Nico de Boyville alluded to that after the race. And 4.5-star ratings for me, Django Bay, for the simple reason. Did they go too hard maybe early on, Conor? And did the race maybe fall into his lap a little bit? He was brilliant on the day, but I suppose you're giving Grey Dawning a 4-star rating. I'm only knocking off half a star for Django Bay, simply because of the way the race was run.
Yeah, but sometimes those better races are run, like as you saw the John Durkan, at a fierce pace, and it suits the I suppose staying type horse, which he seems to be. Same in the Arkle last year, he went a hell of a gallop, and like he just came from the clouds and nicked it at the end. But as I said, most of the time, and it's the way those races should be run at a proper pace, and the best horse stays and wins, and which he did on Saturday. As you said, he seems to be improving. You would have thought after the Arkle, you'd say definitely he's going to stay, which he does. And I suppose 2 miles 5 in Ascot. He seems versatile. I don't see 3 miles being a problem in Kempton. So again, plenty to look forward to with him. And jumps great, travels well, uncomplicated horse. Yes, very hard to knock him.
Woodhoo, we have to talk about the wonder mare for Gordon Elliott. What a performance at the weekend. You've given her a 5-star rating.
Yeah, and listen, it's more overall the 5-star for her, because she's 8 out of 9 over hurdles, beaten by the Great Lossiemouth is her only defeat. And she's come from a rating of, I think it's about 128 to 154 in Ascot, so she's going to go up another 4 or 5 or whatever. So to go up that amount in a season is huge. Horses would go up that much maybe when you start off at 80, they'll go up quicker. But when you get to a higher rating, they don't go up as quick. So to go from 126 to 154 is it's fantastic. And she's just a lovable mare. She just gets out, does her thing. Again, very uncomplicated, and came out of Michael Stouse, I think, rated in the low 70s. So to great piece of buying by Gordon, and to go and do what she's doing is just amazing, and she's far from finished.
I think 8 wins from 9 now of hurdles in
Yeah.
total. Conor, a good friend of mine actually has been campaigning for Woodhoo, perhaps as a stairs hurdle mare. I mean, she's battle hard and she's plenty of experience. Do you think is that an option? Do you think stepping up and trip to 3 miles? Would you like to see her over 3 miles getting the £7?
Absolutely, why not? As you say, she's won in Cheltenham. She stays very well. She's getting that bit older. It definitely has to be an option. I'm sure there's plenty of options for her, but I definitely wouldn't rule it out. Bit of pace. You travel through the race very easily, and being a Cheltenham winner, counts for a lot. She knows how to come up that hill, and definitely you couldn't rule it out. As I said, 154. I'm not sure what he gave her, but she's going to be heading for the 160, which is plenty high enough for a stayers hurdle.
Just a quick mention for the Jukebox Man, because I did mention, of course, Django Bay, 4.5-star ratings for me. I wasn't as impressed with the Jukebox Man. 3 stars for me. I thought he got a free lead. Look at the form, the Felton form as well from his novice chase campaign. Highland was second, only beaten 2 lengths on that occasion. He's gone on to achieve a rating of only 145. So it'll be a big step up going to a King George. Obviously, he was off the track since December, should I say, 2024, prior to running in the graduation chase. And Mr. Hope Street as well. I know he's a horse that could potentially be on a nice mark, 127, but the form was a little bit suspect. He was thoroughly beaten 5 lengths by the Jukebox Man at the weekend. So I just wonder as well, the Jukebox Man, Conor, could he be a better horse, maybe over 2.5 miles? Looking at his style of racing and looking at the way he jumps, but wouldn't be for me at 8 to 1. Sortudo, did you see him for Willie Mullins down in Cork yesterday? 7th in the champion bumper. It looked a hot maiden as well, Conor, with Jalan Dadari and Shuttle Diplomacy in there. Jumped novicely, but I thought hit the line quite hard over 2 miles. Stepping up and trip will probably suit him.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, will definitely improve farther on. His jumping could be better, but he did nothing wrong. He looked smart. And listen, Willie's you don't know where they end up, and you could look back on races on the day and kind of think, I got beat by such a thing, and whatever. But, 6 months' time, you look back and go, my God, look where it's ended up. And Willie's often do that. So, yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on.
When we come back from this ad break, Conor, we're going to be talking all things tracker horses, and we'll reel in the ears as well, because we've a lot to discuss with the likes of Hardy Eustace, War of Attrition, and looking ahead once again to Cheltenham Festival, of course, 2026. So look forward to that after this quick ad break.
Irish thanks, folks. It's going to be a Baltic winter, and our winter wonder is back here at EJ Menswear and EJMenswear.com. €279 for 5 pieces all in, including your wool coat. We've got an unbelievable selection in this. Start off with your coat, build that. Choose a top from a quarter zip net from Ted Smith. Any of our shirts, hundreds and hundreds of different combinations you can put together here. I've gone all black with the charcoal grey coat. Everything included in this: your coat, your quarter zip, or your shirt or your top, your bottoms. We even throw in the free scarf and socks. €279. It's a saving of over €200. The colours in the coats are class. You've got your camel there at the front. You've got your French navy. You've the black and you've the charcoal that I'm wearing here. A saving of over €200. The Winter Wonder bundle is live now on the website, EJ Menswear, and in store in Grattan Street in Sligo.
And in case you were wondering where we were today, Conor, we were down at EJ Menswear in Sligo. A bit of a trip out west, but worth it, and got well looked after by EJ. It's a big week for them, of course, with Black Friday upcoming, and of course, Champ.ie listeners can get an extra 5% off all orders on EJMenswear.com. Simply type in the promo code CHAMP5. So big week, and if you haven't got your gifts for Christmas, well, EJ's down in Sligo is the place to go, or EJMenswear.com. Conor, quick horse for the tracker for me. Ante-Post, Rebecca Curtis horse is starting to, apart from Haughty Calor, obviously he disappointed at the weekend, but she'd a winner, of course, at Exeter yesterday as we were recording on Sunday with Pottersville. She looked smart, but there was a bit of a gamble in Ante-Post, who was pulled up last time in his first run of the season over fences for Rebecca Curtis at Aintree, and well punted Ante-Post into, I think it was 9-2 from bigger double figures, I think, in the morning. And I thought he shaped well, jumped a lot better, made a couple of key errors at, I suppose, a crucial time in the race. But look back to his hurdles form at Fairyhouse. He was only beaten a length by Custom Taylor, and that horse has gone on to improve for Dick Wheely, the guts of 15 or 20 pounds since. So I think off 120 he's lurking. He finished second to Blink and Stop at the weekend on Sunday at Exeter. And I like the way he ran. Big improvement from his first run where he was pulled up at Aintree. And I think he's a horse that could continue to progress over fences and could be on a nice mark in the mid 120s, probably when he is revised, or when he gets a revised mark. So Ante-Post, the tracker horse for me. Have you got maybe one that caught the eye for you over the last?
Yeah, horse caught my eye on last Monday in Navan. Lovely Hurling, a horse of Colin Murphy's. Lightly raced, but finished second to Copac the Boars, albeit 13 lengths. He's entitled to probably beat you 13 lengths. He's only ran 5 times, won 2, and was second twice, as I said, once to Copac the Boars, and the other last year in the Grade 1 at Punchestown Festival, beaten by Final Demand. So he shaped very well, jumped very well, and I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Well named as well, and trained in the right county, Conor.
He is, yeah. As I said, he is lightly raced, but he shaped very, very well now. And, Colum's a shrewd operator as well, So, as I say, he's in the right yard, and I think he's a horse going places.
Conor, if you're picking 4 winners at Cheltenham, you probably are picking 2 champion hurdles and 2 Gold Cups. Let's start with Hardy Eustace. How much did you enjoy the buzz? I suppose the Irish buzz heading over, the battles with Archibald. Very much a different type of horse than Hardy Eustace, and then obviously Brave Inca as well, the young gun. How much did you enjoy those battles and the build up?
Yeah, sure. Look, there were fantastic battles. Like you said, Archibald and Hardy Eustace were 2 totally different horses. As I said earlier on, you want a horse on your side at the winning post, and that's where Hardy always saved his best for last. He very rare. I can't ever remember him getting beat in a battle. He got beat plenty of times, but well beaten. But I don't think he ever backed away from a battle. He loved it. You could just feel his head getting lower and lower, and he really loved it. Where Archibald was the opposite. You could see the head getting higher and higher, and you know, when you have a horse on your side doing that for you, it's a great feeling.
Which of those Cheltenham wins, for whatever reason, gave you the most satisfaction at the time?
Yeah, well, hard to kind of separate. I suppose the first one, obviously, because it was the first champion hurdle, and it was a bit of a surprise, really, or it was more than a bit of a surprise. He won well. He popped off, and I suppose we had nothing to lose that year, really. He was a big price, and but to win a champion hurdle was amazing. And as I said, my first winner since Imperial Call 8 years earlier. So to get another winner was unbelievable. But then to go back the next year and defend the crown and to win it the way he won it, yeah, that was very special. But it's very hard to call which I got more kick out of. Maybe the second one, I suppose, just the fact that it was just so. It was probably one of the best finishes in Cheltenham history. Not even a champion hurdle, the festival all over. It was amazing.
Conor, finally, before we move on to the next section of the show, is there a young horse that you have in the yard yourself that you are maybe looking forward to most over the next 12 months?
Yeah, well, look, we have a smashing horse there called Salisbury Hill. We bought it from Garota Loughlin in Wexford. He's won his maiden hurdle in Leopardstown. He's won his beginner's chase in Roscommon. He's only rated 110 over hurdles, but I think he's a better chaser. He's a rating of 120 at the moment. Unfortunately, he's a little bit ground dependent. He's not probably your winter type horse, but we're heading for Leopardstown for the 2 mile 1 handicap chase there, and might give him a little break then. But I think he's going to reach a good rating, and really looking forward to him. So hopefully we get a dry Christmas.
McCafferty's traditional Irish bars are located across Ireland, the UK, Spain and the United Arab Emirates. McCafferty's bars provide the perfect backdrop and atmosphere to watch all horse racing and sports events, serving traditional Irish food and music played 7 days a week. Come to McCafferty's for the crack and stay for the experience. Check out mcaffertysbars.com.
As it stands, the Gold Cup, we did take a brief look at this last week, as mentioned, Conor, but obviously things have changed slightly. Gallop and the Champ, 4-1. Another way of thinking, 4-1 with Boylesports. Gaelic Warrior priced up at 8-1 after the weekend. Factifile 10s. Grey Dawning 12-1. Faster Slow 20s. Django Bay not listed, but 20-1 as well. At this point in time, Conor, what way do you see the Gold Cup picture? Who would be the leading contender for you to win the Gold Cup 2026?
Well, you probably have to go back to Gavin's horse, the way he won it last year. Like the acceleration he showed at the back of the last was quite amazing, really. Again, the John Durkan run, I wouldn't worry about. He was taken off his feet early on. He definitely doesn't have the pace to go with them. Keith Dunhu seemed very positive about him and very happy with him. He said he rode a better horse in it this year than he did last year. He felt better. Gavin's horses are probably just not flying at the moment either, so I'm sure there will be by then, but you probably have to look at him, Barry, as the one that they have to beat. I'm not saying he's unbeatable, but he's the one they have to beat, as all Gold Cup horses or all Gold Cup winners are. The next year is always hard for them, but they're the ones that have been there and done it. So you have to respect that.
We didn't see Gallop and the Champ in the John Durkan. Willie did mention potentially Tramore. He likes to target that race. It's not going to be any easier for him to regain his crown. Gaelic Warrior, just wonder, maybe the King George, could that be maybe his big target from here on in? Very good, as you mentioned, the John Durkan earlier on the show. Factifile, probably 2.5 miles is his trip. Grey Dawning, for me, wouldn't be. I just think Django Bay, though, he's not listed on the screen there, Conor. He's a horse that could potentially enter the mix, pending on how he gets on in the King George. As I said, I'd be sweet on him at 4-1 at the moment for the King George. You might get a bigger price near the time, but if he wins that and he does what he always does and look looked to be doing his best work at the finish. I mean, do you roll the dice or do you take fact to file on potentially in a Ryanair chase? Does this look a more open race if you're in the Django Bay camp and an extra 2 furlongs at a course, Cheltenham, in which he's unbeaten? Would that be the route you'd be siding if he did go and win the King George?
Yeah, well, at the moment, as you said, the Gold Cup looks more open than I think the Ryanair will be. Galloping the Champ was beaten fair and square, I think, last season. So it'd be very, very hard for him to come back and turn the tables if there didn't. I don't think there was a reason for him to run the way he did. Gaelic Warrior, he'd have to do everything right in the race to see out the 3-2. As you said, fact to file probably is more of a Ryanair horse, and if I know the way you're thinking turns up like he did last year, I can't see them taking on each other really. And then you're down to the likes of Grey Dining and the Jukebox Man. So it definitely, at the moment, it definitely looks a more open race for Django. But as you said, if he did go and win the King George, well, I think he's 20s there. He's not going to be 20s if he wins the King George.
Wouldn't think so. When we come back, Conor, we're going to be discussing our Ante-Post selections for the latest show of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. If you haven't entered a course thus far, well, now is the time to do so. I think we had over 40 entries last week into the competition. Of course, we'll announce the winner on the eve of the Cheltenham Festival, the healthiest looking portfolio, once again, as we always do. And of course, a VIP trip to the Boylesports Irish Grand National up for grabs. So get your selections down below. And when we come back, we'll be entering our pick for week 2 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge.
Now boarding the train of thought.
Calling out. Injury lane. Statminster. Opinion Circus. Last Chance Cross. And decision time.
Back yourself. Boylesports.
Well, Conor, as we always do on the Road to Cheltenham Challenge, we give the honours to the guests. So what do you like? I think the Mayor's Chase is the race you're leaning towards.
Yeah, definitely. DINOBLUE. I thought she was very unlucky. I'm not saying she'd have definitely won, but she absolutely ballooned the fence down the back straight. I think it was about the 4th fence in Navan in the 4-3, and then was coming back in and looked like was really coming back to challenge and hit the second last. So I just think with a clear round, she's won in Cheltenham. She's won it before. I just thought sort of the 4-1 was a great price for her. Going there, as I say, there's very little negatives about her is what I'm trying to say. And as I said, she probably was an unlucky loser on Monday, really, in the 4-3.
What about the opposition in that division potentially? Spindleberry still unbeaten over fences for Willie Mullins. She was good in County Tipperary on her comeback. Brighter days ahead. We haven't seen her as of yet over fences, but I think that is the likely plan. What about the opposition this season? I mean, DINOBLUE last year, Conor, she seemed to really improve, didn't she, from the season before?
She did. She seemed to kind of get her act together type of thing. But typical mares can often take a couple of years to get everything in. And once they do, they improve more than a gelding does once a mare goes the right way. She's rated 160 on Monday in for 3. She'll go to Cheltenham with that sort of rating, if not more. So no matter what kind of comes along, it's to get up to that 160, and she's competing off it very well. I think it's going to take a hell of a mare to peg her back.
Taking a bit of a punt this week because this horse is due to run at Newbury at the weekend of that Mayor's Listed contest. The weekend, obviously, the weekend at Newbury, we have fantastic racing upcoming. I've gone with CLONDAW Park and a good price boost. You've got 9-2 on DINOBLUE. I've got 28-1 on CLONDAW Park for the Mayor's Novices Hurdle. And just looking at the races at the moment, kind of struggling for a real standout this week, which is why I've, taken a punt at this price. I think this horse could be a lot shorter come March, provided all goes according to plan. A 4-year-old daughter walking the park. She's related, Conor, to Nicholas Canyon. Again, she came from the Goff Academy down in County Wexford, won a point-to-point by 8 lengths at Lisrona. I thought she was very impressive in doing so. And Harry Durham, she's gone to Harry Durham, and new owner, of course, who's looking to find that Cheltenham horse. She cost 320k at the Cheltenham sales. I just thought she was quite good in her point-to-point. Worked very well at Newbury on the gallops morning as well. She looks very, very straightforward. Interesting, Harry Durham did say that CLONDAW Park, she's not your typical walk in the park, and that she's a lot more relaxed than maybe what he typically produced. But he is the sire of the moment at the moment, walk in the park. And I think just looking at that listed race, is it a tip in itself that Harry Durham is chucking her in there, first time up in listed company. Lucia won the race in the past for Nicky Henderson. I think she went off favourite, if not joint favourite, for the Mayor's Novice at Cheltenham. And just speaking to Harry Goff, who rode CLONDAW Park to win in her point-to-point, he said she was really straightforward. And I think she could be a pretty classy mare that might not be 28-1 come March. But look, a lot of water to go under the bridge. But do you know what about this mare? Do you think maybe she could be a contender come March?
I don't know much about her at all, but as you said, a couple of things. For Harry to throw her in first time into a listed is a big step. She's obviously pleasing him at home. His trainer obviously going places. Walking the park, as you said, is obviously the sire of at the moment and has been for a while. So she seems to have all the credentials, and a little bit like Django Bay, she won't be 28-1. If she goes and wins in Newbury, and that's for sure. So yeah, listen, I couldn't knock you on it. You've definitely beat me on price anyway. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, hopefully she shows up there and does something. But you've definitely flagged up a good price one anyway.
When he was asked, Harry Durham, about CLONDAW Park going for this particular race as well, I mean, if she did get beat and ran well, it's not a total disaster. I think Jubilee Alpha was an eye catcher in that listed first time up at, well, I don't think it was her first run last year, but she was an eye catcher in that listed mare's novice hurdle at Newbury last season. And she went on to finish 7th in the, she ran very well, to be fair, and she probably didn't have her ground for Paul Nicholls. And it's funny because, like, if you look at a lot of the markets at the moment, Conor, we're very much Willie Mullins heavy here, and there might be potentially a little bit of value with some of these pointers that have crossed the ocean. I mean, Sober Glory, he's a horse we put forward last week at 25-1, and obviously this week 28-1. It's early in the season. You want to be looking at a horse that's going to contract in price plenty to get a little bit of value. And I just thought you mightn't see 28-1 come Saturday afternoon. I think she's a big contender.
Yeah, well, look, as you said, if you know, she doesn't have to win on Saturday first run for a new yard, first run over hurdles, everything, you know, to be counted. If you saw her in the first 3, I'm sure on Saturday you definitely won't be getting 28-1 on Saturday afternoon.
Well, fingers crossed, Conor. Listen, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the road to Cheltenham Challenge. Brilliant hearing about the stories, Hardy Eustace, War of Attrition, some fantastic days for yourself. And I suppose finally, just before we do wrap up the show, Conor, I suppose, what are you looking to, what's the goal for Conor DWYER from a training perspective over the next 12 months? And is there anything you'd like to plug before we wrap up?
Really, for me, we've, we just really want to get more horses back in and, get back up the ladder a bit, really. A lot of small trainers are down in numbers like ourselves, but we have proved over the time, and most trainers have, as I said last weekend, everybody can train them if we have the machinery. And we've a very nice Elzam horse at the moment, a 4-year-old unnamed, so we're hoping he'll maybe jump in and fly the flag for us and get us back up there.
Well, Conor, wish you all the best, and we look forward to catching up very, very soon once again. If you have enjoyed the show, please click that like button down below, subscribe to the podcast, and scan the QR code up on screens if you haven't entered our competition with Midland Travel to win a trip for 2 to the Cheltenham Festival in March. And we'll be, of course, announcing that winner on the 12th of February. So still some time to get your entry in. Only takes a couple of moments, and We'd be delighted if everyone that's watching the show is in the draw to win a trip to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. And don't forget as well, EJ Menswear down in Sligo. It's Black Friday, 5% off. Of course, an extra 5% off for Champ.ie listeners. Champ5 the code. And of course, you can avail of that by clicking, and of course, you can avail of that over on the ejmenswear.com website. So absolutely fantastic, Conor, having you on the show. And we wish you the very best for the season.
Thanks a million, Barry. Best of luck.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds recently celebrated their 100th winner, and Ireland's leading racehorse syndicate has taken owners all over the world. Shamrock Thoroughbreds founder Stephen Thorne remarkably won the Winter Trainers' Championship at Dundalk during his first season as a racehorse trainer. To experience success with Shamrock Thoroughbreds and Stephen Thorne Racing, check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com.